Welcome to another episode of the Divorce Survival Guide podcast, where we have real, honest, smart, and sometimes even hilarious conversations about co-parenting, separation, and divorce, and all that goes along with that. I'm Kate Anthony, your host, guide, life coach, and all-around expert in all things divorce. So I just binge watched Big Little Lies. I know, it's been on forever and it's taken me a while. I didn't have HBO. And also I read the book years ago. So screen adaptations of books tend to leave devoted readers feeling less than satisfied. So it took me a while, but oh my God, you guys, it is as good as everyone says it was. And not only that, I think it's meant for women like us. It's meant for women who are going through divorce, but women who are seeking themselves in middle age, who are suddenly waking up to realize that not everything that they thought was real and true matters anymore. And they have had children. They're reclaiming themselves in motherhood. I mean, there are just so many reasons that this is a show to watch. I think actually that the TV series blew this book out of the water. I will say that. So if you haven't seen it, there's some spoilers ahead, so you may not want to continue listening to this episode. But so watching Big Little Lies, I was on the edge of my seat when Maddie was about to tell Ed about her affair with the less than memorable theater dude. Oh my God, so many theater dudes. And it brings to light a really important question that a reader recently submitted. She said, "I cheated on my husband. It wasn't a one-time thing, but it's over now. I'm racked with guilt, but I also know that if I tell my husband, it will destroy him. But I also feel like I should be honest and like I'm keeping a terrible secret, even though I actually feel better and closer to him than ever. What should I do?" Well, this is a complicated issue that many of us have faced, and I think it's exactly what Maddie was struggling with in Big Little Lies. There's this spark of attraction with someone new. Things haven't been quite right in your marriage for a long time. You get swept away in a moment or two or three. You share some unbridled passion, and then it's over. And now you're left with the question, should you tell your husband? So here's my take on this. It is shared by the awesome and amazing Dan Savage, and I will warn you that it's a little bit controversial, and it's not a perspective shared by everyone, but I actually think it's important. If you cheated because the sex and the spark has diminished in your marriage and everything else is pretty much fine, and seeking sexual solace outside the marriage has actually supported your marriage in that you're now satisfied and you're no longer resentful, keep it to yourself and move on. Seriously. Now, if you cheated because you were seeking something other than sexual gratification, emotional support, some kind of connection that you're really not getting in your marriage that's other than sexual, and it's an indicator of other more serious problems in your marriage, address those issues, not the cheating. Because at the end of the day, affairs are nothing more than symptoms of greater underlying issues in a marriage. And if the issue is serious enough, we should be dealing with that issue directly, not what led to it, not what it led to, right? Affairs don't occur in vacuums, guys. Like, affairs occur because there's something missing. So if you do tell your husband, you could actually derail your chances of dealing with the underlying important issues because you're going to be focused on healing from your indiscretion, not what led you to the indiscretion. Right? So often we want to tell people things that we've done in order to make ourselves feel better, right? We're crushed under the weight of the guilt and we just want to get it off. And then that will make us feel better, sure, right? But we're actually shifting the burden of pain onto the other person. It's like we took a big shit. And while we feel great and relieved, the other person is standing there covered in our feces. I know that's gross, but I think it's appropriate. So this sort of begs the question, it leads to the question of should you tell if you're ending your marriage? right? If you're at the stage where you're kind of cleaning up everything and you're coming clean, I know a lot of people who go through divorce, it's a time of just getting everything out on the table, right? All of the resentments, all of the difficulties, and even some of the healing process, right? It is actually part of the healing. And there are healthy ways and unhealthy ways to go about that. So telling that you cheated while you're ending your marriage, I don't think that's a good idea, right? So just as an example, I'm fairly sure that my husband cheated on me throughout our marriage. It wasn't until 2 years into my divorce that the light bulb went off and all the pieces clicked into place. Now, if he did, it would certainly have made sense given all of the other issues that were going on in our marriage. And there were plenty of them. And honestly, his cheating is probably the least of the issues that we were would have been dealing with. So it all clicked into place after about 2 years after our divorce. But even then, I didn't want to know for sure. But I wanted him to know that I knew. So I sent him a text and I said, I don't want to know for sure. I don't want you to confirm this, but I want you to know that I know. And true to my wishes, he didn't confirm it. He also didn't deny it, but he didn't confirm it. And I'm grateful for that. I would rather assume what I know to be true and move on than have those images in my head, because that's really what it's about. You're putting some of the most painful images possible into your husband's head. And I can't think of a good reason to do that, no matter what. No matter how much pain you may want to inflict, it's a devastating blow that you'll probably regret in the end. So when Maddie was about to tell Ed at the end of Big Little Lies, I was literally screaming at the television. I was like, no, don't tell him. And I know you guys are like, but you read the book. But it was a long time ago, and I swear I have the worst memory, thanks to motherhood and middle age and all of that. The bottom line here is this. Our indiscretions are our crosses to bear, and they're our guilt to carry. But they do point to underlying issues. And if they expose those, deal with those, and keep the indiscretion to yourself. Thanks for listening to the Divorce Survival Guide podcast. You can find me over at kateanthony.com, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes so you don't miss an episode. See you next time.